Hey, beautiful people, them. I am Coach Z. If you're new here, I'm your emotional clarity guide, and I'm also your pattern disruptor because I'm not about just giving you information. I'm about actually interrupting your patterns that are going to get you out of that same old painful emotional cycle of heartache and confusion. All right. So, what we're talking about today is why you keep choosing the same man, even after you say or swear down that you are done. Now, I have touched on this in my previous video, but we're going to hit it from a slightly different angle because what I realized is that leaving him wasn't the hardest part whatsoever. The hardest part was actually realizing that I kept choosing the same dynamic in a different body. Like, it took me a while to actually realize that that's exactly what was happening. Like, I thought that I was unlucky and I thought that I just had bad taste in men, or you know what I mean? Like, obviously not bad taste, but it's just like I felt like maybe I just keep picking wrong. Maybe some people say like I'm a Jack magnet, or I just thought that it was bad luck, but it wasn't bad luck at the end of the day. It was a pattern. And once I realized that I was stuck in a cycle of emotional pain, it was always ending the same heartache, or the relationship always had some form of emotional confusion. That's when it really came down to me learning how to disrupt that cycle. The thing about it is that there is a hell of a lot of misconception around it, like even toxic relationships, being in these cycles, being in heartache, constant emotional confusion with men. There's so much misconception of saying, oh, the woman is just stupid. And it's not stupidity at all. Like, babe, you're not stupid and you're not weak. And it doesn't even mean that you have low standards, because that is a huge misconception. It's not about constantly attracting narcissists, it is all about nervous system familiarity, right? Because what happens is that your body chooses what feels known to you, but not what is actually healthy for you. Which is crazy. You'd think your body would freaking look out for you, right? But it is trying its best to look out for you, because at the end of the day, what feels known is what feels safe. What you don't know, your brain has no recollection of. Your brain doesn't have a framework within it to say, okay, I have nothing to measure this against. I don't know what the outcome is. But when you've experienced certain relationship dynamics, your body, your brain, your nervous system already knows that, okay, this is going to end in heartbreak. So let's just do this again, because I already know what the outcome is. And that is the trick. That is the trap. That is exactly how it sets you up time and time again for failure and not secure, healthy, reciprocal love and relationships. Now, let me tell you exactly how this shows up in like real life examples in your relationships, right? You might be with somebody who starts to pull away. So when he starts to pull away, you start over functioning. It could be that he criticizes you, so you start to improve yourself. You think you're improving yourself, you're taking on all of his little criticisms and you keep changing yourself, changing yourself, changing yourself. He might be inconsistent, so you become a bit more patient with him, you give him more grace. Oh, maybe one day he'll learn to be consistent. You even try to teach him how to be consistent. You try to teach him how to love you. It might be that he is completely emotionally unavailable, so you become the understanding woman. I just need to understand his childhood. I need to understand why is he like this, and then maybe we can go from there. Or even he breadcrumbs you even in text. So you feel a hell of a lot more hopeful than you are grounded in reality. And you have to understand that all of these dynamics aren't love, they're a nervous system activation. It's not to say that they can never become love, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But the real cost of being stuck in this emotional, painful cycle, the real cost of being stuck in constant heartache and confusion is all of the overthinking. Like, you are so consumed by this relationship dynamic that it literally disrupts your life and you don't even realize it. All of that overthinking is just pulling you away from thriving and doing other things that you could be doing in life. All of these sleepless nights that are no good for you, that affect you in work. I used to tell this story before that I'll never forget. I freaking cut. I was outside and I was so distracted. Obviously, I was there at work, but I wasn't there because I was dealing with so much in my relationship at home that I literally rolled over the plug to the lawnmower and it was gone. And I swear on, if my boss didn't like me as much as she did, she probably would have fired me on the spot that day. But this is the real cost of the emotional turmoil of these relationship dynamics, all of the self doubt that it starts to implant in you. You start to isolate from your friends and you don't realize how much that is costing you in real life. Numbing, numbing yourself from the pain. You start drinking, you start smoking, you start constantly scrolling and looking for other ways to get that dopamine to distract you from the turmoil of your own relationship that are actually costing you real life opportunities, real life chances because you're not out there putting yourself out there, you're not developing skills, you're not working on yourself. You start to lose parts of yourself, right? And you start to feel like you are ruining all of the good things in life. These things can affect you so much mentally that you might even be showing up thinking that you're depressed or you're not, babe. It's just the constant emotional turmoil that's really weighing you down. How there's even the physical aspect to it. Your skin stops glowing, you start gaining weight, and you don't even know why you're gaining weight, no matter what you eat. No matter how active you are, no matter how much you're exercising, you're still gaining weight. Your face is still puffing because of all of the cortisol in your body, all of that stress, you know. You want to talk about stomach fat? How stomach fat is there for a lot of people just because of stress, you know. No matter how much you work out, if you're not reducing your stress levels, if you're not sleeping well, it will affect you. It will affect the way that you look. But the turning point for me, it wasn't even the breakup, right? It was the moment that I realized that I kept repeating myself. It was the moment that I realized that I wasn't choosing him and I was choosing what was familiar because that is what really helped me. First, I had to identify my pattern, but the self awareness wasn't enough, right? While I knew I was doing these things, I knew what my toxic traits were, but I didn't understand it properly. It wasn't until that I came to understand it properly that really started to be the seed for change. And then I had to water the seed. And in order to water the seed, I had to build emotional regulation. And once I started building emotional regulation on top of my understanding of my pattern, that became the blossom before the harvest, right? When I then started to be able to interrupt my patterns in real time. And from there, that is where real change came about. It was about changing my blueprint as well of what I was attracted to. Now, I want to get into really quickly what secure love actually feels like because I want you to understand what is actually out there. Because we get so trapped in our minds that all men are a certain way, love is like this. We don't understand how beautiful it can actually be. Secure love is actually calm. There is no mental confusion. There is no walking on eggshells. There's no obsession. And I say that lightly because you can experience safety with a person and become literally obsessed with them for it. But the obsession part of it isn't the love. That's not the secure love. That is your nervous system being activated, probably trying to recreate a little bit of chaos. Or you might actually even have that obsession in secure love when that person isn't yours. So when the person isn't yours, you become obsessed because at the end of the day, they're not yours. You don't have access to that secure love as and when you need it. So that's something that can happen as well. But secure love, there is no panic when your man goes quiet because you're secure. You know what you have. You know what you have. The love that you share between you is so real that you don't have that anxiety. You don't have that panic. You don't feel like you have to earn love. That is one of the beautiful, most beautifulest things about knowing that you're in a secure relationship. Your love is secure with somebody is that you love them just because, and they love you just because of who you are. You don't have to go above and beyond. You don't have to buy her flowers. You don't have to run his bathwater and overperform and do all of these crazy, not crazy things, sorry, because they're not crazy, the beautiful acts of service and ways to show your love. But you don't have to do all of that to earn their love. They will love you just for being you. Yeah, that is the difference. And the most beautifulest thing for me about secure love is that you don't feel high, you just feel steady. You feel steady. You feel whole within yourself. You get to really be who you are. But look, if you are done repeating the same emotional cycle, you're tired of the heartache, you're tired of the confusion. I'm telling you right now that you don't need another dating tip. I'm not gonna be out here giving you guys dating advice because you don't need it. You all you really need is clarity of your own pattern. That is where it starts. And honestly, if you are ready for that, I would suggest that you go and take the free quiz and the link in my bio and just understand what your pattern is. Start small, it doesn't have to be big. Real change is about taking the baby steps, so start there. And I hope that you took what you needed from this. I hope that you gained some better understanding, and make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit like. And honestly, if you have any questions for me, don't be afraid to leave them down in the chat. I will track them out. But until next time, stay blessed, stay beautiful, babe.